Hi everyone, and welcome back. It's me, Evelina, and I'm sitting at the entrance to our camper in a nice, shiny, warm afternoon. I carved out a little bit of quiet time while the kids are asleep to do something interesting for you. I thought it might be fun to give you a tour of our camper in a little bit more detail, to kind of show you around, to show you all the corners, all the drawers, what I keep, what I don't keep, and how I will manage in life with two little children inside these doors. So I'm gonna take you along and do my best to show you around and show you how I keep this home cute and simple and very manageable with small children. So come along with me. So we are at the heart of this camper, in my little kitchen. I spend so much time in this corner of this camper. It has so much heartbeat and life, and a lot of cooking and conversations are happening right here. I'm gonna go through every little detail that I have in this tiny kitchen. So first we're gonna look at my island table. For this camper, it actually is a big size table. Here I keep everything that I use daily. I keep my KitchenAid mixer attachment. I use it whenever I make muffins, or I need to whisk cream, or I need to make a small batch of dough. That is always handy. Then I keep my tea kettle. I make tea every single day, so I need a way to boil some hot water really quickly, so I keep it right next to the KitchenAid. Then I have my Vitamix blender that Roy got for me for Christmas, and it's been such a useful little thing. I make smoothies in there, I blend nuts, I blend different types of spreads. It is such a high quality blender, and I use it every single day. Then I have my Instant Pot multi-cooker. I love that appliance so much. I make my beans there, I make my rice there, I make oatmeal, I soak things like chickpeas or amaranth. I used to keep it over the daybed, on a shelf over our daybed, but it was an inconvenient place to pull it out from, so I moved it over to the island table. I just find that whenever things are very hard to access or hidden, I tend to forget about them or tend to not use them at all. So I do use my multi-cooker very often. Then next to it, I have my water filter. We don't have a filtering system in this camper, so we use our filter every single day. It looks a little messy there, I know, but honestly, I use those things all the time, and I need to have a quick access to them, so that's how it's gonna be while we're living this camper. And I also have my bread basket where I keep my bread or bagels. Okay, moving next to our oven, I have 4 baskets that are hanging on the hooks. When we bought this camper, in the place of our dishwasher, there used to be 4 drawers. We removed those drawers, we had to put a dishwasher. I use it every single day. So now I didn't have a place to store all my utensils, all my spoons and spatulas. So I bought 4 baskets, and we put hooks, and now they're here, and it's so nice and accessible, and I can just pull out whatever I need when I cook. Then we have our oven. There used to be a camper-sized stove and a microwave over it. It was a tiny stove and not real size oven, and I knew that it's not gonna work with so much bacon that I do. So we managed to put a real size stove. It runs on propane. We removed microwave, we don't use microwave, and we've installed a ventilator over our oven. I always keep a few cast iron pots on the stove because there's not much space to put them anywhere else. And I also installed a magnet where I keep all my knives. That is also a very handy little piece. Now, don't mind the burned siding of the wall. That was not well thought of when we did a remodeling. The vinyl pretty much melted, and we should have used some sort of other material, like we should have used tile or something else that would withstand a very hot temperature. We're gonna have to work on that in the winter time when we have a little bit more time. Near our oven, my dad was able to leave a little bit of room to keep my grinder. That's where I grind all my wheat berries. And under it, he made 2 shelves where I keep my pots and pans. I don't love it particularly because it is a bit cramped, but it works okay. I pull it out fairly easy from those shelves. Over this island table, there are drawers. There's 3 shelves in there. On the bottom shelf, I keep all my plates and bowls that we use every single day for eating. I like switching my plates seasonally. This time I'm using my green plates for Christmas time, and then in the summertime I'll pull out my white ones, or maybe I'll buy some other ones that are have more summery feeling. On the second shelf, I keep my mugs and my drinking glasses. I also keep my glass mixing bowls. And on the third shelf on the top, I keep things that I don't use every day, like waffle maker, and then spinner to wash lettuce, and some baking dishes. Then right on my left side, this little corner, and there's pantry. I keep all my aprons hanging on the hook right near our refrigerator. Then we have shelves for our staples like canned food and grains. When we purchased this camper, I really liked the size of this pantry. We painted everything white. In the very bottom portion of this pantry shelves, I keep my canned goods like dark kidney beans, chickpeas, all kinds of different beans, tomato paste, chopped tomatoes, soy sauce, some gems, honey. All these little jars are on a bottom shelf. Right over that shelf, I have things like peanut butter, honey, enchilada sauce, coconut oil, brown sugar, salt, soda, baking soda, some more jams and vinegar. All those things I store on this shelf. Then there's the middle portion of the pantry. That's where I keep all my grains. Here I keep my red lentils, green lentils, black beans, brown sugar, amaranth grains, rice, poppy seeds, chickpeas. Then the shelf above it, I keep my oatmeal, white beans, mung beans, buckwheat, millet, sunflower seeds, rice, pasta, quinoa. Whenever I run out of something, I go to the container and I refill these containers with whatever I need. I order big amount of grains and wheat from Asia Standard, and I refill them whenever I need to. Then we have a very top portion of this pantry, and that is where I keep extras. Whenever I run out, I can pull from the top shelf. I keep gelatin, rice flour, nuts, and just bigger bags like pinto beans, sugar, breadcrumbs, some more pasta. I keep canned tomatoes whenever we make pizza, things that I don't use every day, and whenever I run out of something, I can pull those things from the top shelf. That is my pantry, and it is a nice size for the skimper. I don't have to run to the container to get things all the time. I think it stores pretty good amount of whatever I need to last me a good while. And finally, we have a refrigerator. It is a smaller refrigerator. I do find that it doesn't store as many things I'd like. That is why we have a big size refrigerator in our container. I do make quite a few trips back and forth to get certain things from there to bring here. And finally, we do have a fruit basket. Whenever we moved to the skimper, I thought, where am I going to keep all our fruit? Because we buy a lot of fruit and bananas and peaches and apples and tangerines. And I knew that we don't have a lot of table space to put them on. So I found on Amazon this really nice hanging basket, and it holds all the fruit that we buy. So it is a nice little piece. My dad installed the top shelf over our stove, and this is where I keep all my flours in glass jars, such as oatmeal flour, rye flour, whole wheat flour. I keep my proofing baskets and a nice set of mixing bowls. And in the lower basket, I keep things that I use very rarely, such as a hand mixer. My favorite piece in this little kitchen truly are the floating shelves that my dad installed for my spices. For a very long time, I didn't really have a good place for all the spices that I use. A lot of them were stored, and I had to go and kind of dig for them and get them out. This idea came to my mind, and I just thought it would be a perfect little spot for all the spices that I use in cooking. I cook a lot of Indian food, and I use a lot of spices for that, such as black paneer and butter masala and different sorts of curries. So I needed a spot to access any kind of spice that I would need for a certain dish. The last thing I'm going to talk about in this kitchen is the bottom shelf. There we have a trash can, and I keep all my cleaning supplies like brushes and soap for the dishwasher. There's a corner where I keep potatoes and onions. If I'm gonna talk about everything in this kitchen, I will mention this corner where my dad installed outlet to plug in all these appliances, and also I keep in the very corner all the bags, chopping board, wooden board, and of course a step stool. That is all to this little kitchen, and it works really well for now. Of course, I always dream of bigger kitchen, more space, more countertops, but it is working very well for us right now. So we are in the dining room area, I would say in the dining corner area, where we eat, and where I have also a organizer for toys for our boys. I honestly love this place. We have a big window that looks out into the west side of our property. We witness and watch such amazing sunsets around here. Here will be a stretch of different drawers where I keep all kinds of things that I will show you. First, I want to tell you that I recently purchased a toy organizer. I should have done it earlier because it's been amazing to have it here, and it fit perfectly in that little corner, and I still have room for a chair to sit at the table. Brady was really thrilled to have his toys organized this way, and it's just perfect in here. It used to be on the floor, and I got really tired of having toys on the floor, and I was happy to clear it out and have more space in the living room. So let me go through these top drawers. The very top drawer on the left is where I keep my parchment paper, my Ziploc bags, my shopping bags, and things like foil for cooking. It's very close to the kitchen and I can access it easily. The drawer next to that one is where I keep some goodies, like little snacks and different kinds of teas, and the basket for the bread. On our dining table, I keep a little toaster. It's kind of convenient to have it there, and I access the bread basket from the top drawer. The drawer next to that one is where I keep all my sippy cups and glass jars. This corner here is my baby changing corner, and I emphasized it a little bit by adding these hand-sewn geese and a little bit of embroidery on the wall. Here I change my kids' diapers and I keep their clothes. I divided the shelves for Louis and Brady. One side has Brady's clothes and another side has Louis' clothes. The drawer right on top of it is where I keep my kitchen towels and my herbal foods. And the last drawer on this side is where I keep kids' diapers and diaper bags and wipes. Okay, this is our living room area, and this is where we put our day bed. That can extend into a queen size bed. It does take a lot of space when we do that, so I keep it folded for now. The day bed has 3 drawers on the bottom, and I keep my towels there, my pillowcases and comforter and blankets on the bottom of the day bed. There are 3 top drawers over this bed. In the first drawer, I keep my extra baking dishes. The middle section will have cake platters and a tortilla warmer. The third drawer has a serving plate and a soup dish from my dish set, and also dumpling maker and some big round mixing bowls. Okay, so this corner is a tiny corner where we have a little bookshelf. It's another floating shelf that my dad installed, and also my art corner. It's always a work in progress and it does not look neat. It is a creative little spot where I sew, where I paint, where I work on my photo albums. I keep all my craft supplies, paint, brushes, paper, all kinds of scrapbooking things and stickers. Everything that I work with creatively, I keep in that corner. There's also some drawers over this table. That's where I keep all the craft supplies. And my dad has installed 2 floating shelves, one above the dining table and another one above this art corner. The baskets over my craft area is where I keep all my craft supplies, such as embroidery needles and stickers, threads, paint paper, paints, and the shelf over the dining table, and I keep extra toys in there. I store that I sometimes switch around when Brady gets tired of playing with the same thing. I keep some books, and I keep some yarn, Brady snacks, and a few glass jars with tapioca flour, cookies, vases, and some plants. I do want to say that these installed floating shelves have helped dramatically to give us more storage space for the things that we use. I do make trips to our storage container quite often to keep this place uncluttered as possible, but definitely floating shelves are amazing, and I do fit a lot of things that I need in here. We also have a TV. There used to be an old one, and we've purchased a bit of newer one that can connect to Wi-Fi. And we also have a fireplace. It's a fake one, it's electric, and I turn it on during cold days. It does give out heat. There's also a drawer over our TV, and this is where I keep my food processor. I don't use it as often, but sometimes when I need it, I can easily access it from this drawer. Now you have entered our bedroom, and this is our quiet corner. It is the darkest room, which is good for sleeping, but this is where we read books, we listen to the lullaby, and we enter into a more quiet state. If we want to rest, this is where we go to. We have removed the mattress, we painted everything white. My dad installed a bookshelf over our bed. I keep all Brady's books and my books here. This is where we read, we listen to music, and we go to sleep. We do have a good size closet, and I feel like I can fit everything that I need for this season. So I will be switching my summer clothes to my winter clothes in about a month, and then switch again from my winter clothes to my summer clothes in March. We have divided everything in half, so Roy has his half drawers and I have my half drawers. We do have a little sink and shower and a bathroom in this room as well. Here I've also installed some light bulbs from IKEA, and I turn them on in the evening. It creates a more soft atmosphere. We have also put a little crib. It's a mini crib near our bed, and Louis has been sleeping wonderfully in here. I do want to say that though we have a day bed, we do tend to sleep together most of the time on this queen size bed. Me, Brady, Roy, and thankfully Louis can sleep well in his little crib, but he joins us as well.